Well, hello and welcome to the Cactus Cowboy YouTube channel. I'm with my two buddies, Chico and Lucky. Today's video will feature rare and obscure records that I have added to Discogs as new subs, with one exception. One was an existing sub. All of these records are very rare. My challenge to viewers is, does anybody have these records, one or more of them? I'd love to know. Just comment below. Anyway, I've been a record collector for many, many years, well over 50 years. I spent a lot of time crate digging, thrift shops, yard sales, antique malls, record stores, wherever I find records, that's where I'm digging. Now, most of the diggers I know, the vinyl hounds, are looking for Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, Beatles, Stones, Doors, all the classic rock stuff. That's great, if you want to flip it on eBay or add it to your collection, more power to you. Personally, I have all that common stuff, and when I'm out crate digging, I'm looking for unusual and odd records. And this will be a good glimpse of some of the rare gems I found out in the wild and have added to Discogs as new subs. So let's begin. So this was released in 1971. Yes, as I mentioned, you will find this on Discogs. I created the entry for it, the new sub, and Discogs shows one person has it, that would be me, and 11 people want it. So anyway, great record. I'm not a big time gospel guy, but man, I recognize great music when I hear it, and this is great. I have shown this in another video that I just posted a couple days ago, and this was found at a yard sale here in Powell, Wyoming. It was one oddball out of a batch of very common stuff. So as you can see, it came in a plain white sleeve, and here is the label. Langston Hughes Memorial Eclectic Improvisational Jazz Exposition. And this is a group based out of the Minneapolis area. I had to do some real digging to find any information about this. Apparently this was a group of guys that got together for jam sessions, and one of the band members' fathers financed the production of this. It's a private label pressing. I have no idea how many were made, but undoubtedly very, very few. What's it like? It is a blend of jazz rock, avant-garde. There's two originals on here. There is, let's see, Satin Doll, Duke Ellington, and a Lennon-McCartney tune, Hard Day's Night. All the other compositions are originals written by the band, and they are just improvised jams. Really cool record. There is one person that owns it on Discog, and I think 3 or 4 are looking for it. So if you ever see this out in the wild, it is undoubtedly very rare. It is good. Grab it. Here is one I found. I can't remember if this was a yard sale or thrift shop, but this is Belle. And Do You Ever Get Lonely? This was recorded up in Billings at Jester. There's the label. Garrett Brothers Band backing, and I don't know what Belle's real name is. I could find virtually nothing about this lady doing a Google search. I believe she's either from northern Wyoming, where I am, or southern Montana, who knows. Anyway, what's this like? Singer-songwriter. These are all originals written by Belle. That's one thing that makes it really cool. She's clearly influenced by Bob Dylan, and her hobby is collecting bells. Imagine that. Anyway, I wouldn't say this is a 5-star classic or killer, but it is a neat record. I like it a lot. It's got real charm to it, and it's a good one. Oh, incidentally, this has sold on Discogs several times in the like $15 to $25 range. So there are copies out there, but it is very, very rare. I think 5 people have it. One of those people would be me, and 5 people want it. Here's one I found at a Montana Rescue Mission thrift shop up in Billings about 5-6 years ago. Sister, Sister. And as you may gather, these are indeed sisters. This is a private label pressing based out of Las Vegas. I believe it dates to the late 80s. And title is Give Love One More Try. There's the gals again on the back. What is this like? It's vocal duo, pop, rock. As far as I can tell, most of these are covers. There's some original on here. And this has sold on disc. No, I don't know that it's sold on Discogs. 5 have it on Discogs. I don't know if it's sold or not. Anyway, it's pretty cool. Here is one that I found at a thrift shop in Laurel, Montana. Bill Gress and the Country Blue live at Rex's Nightclub. And Rex's Nightclub is a lounge up in northwestern Montana. And this has, let's see, as far as I can tell, these are all cover tunes written by somebody else. Actually, there's a couple credited to Bill Gress and Betty Lou. All right, so there's a couple originals and the rest are covers. What's it like? It's, I guess you'd call it country rock, lounge act. It's a good record. I like it a lot. I entered this as a new Discogs submission, and there are just a handful, 2 people that own it, and several people want it. Interestingly enough, shortly after I listed this on Discogs, somebody else having the same copy listed it for sale, and they sold it for, I believe it was $95. Yeah, so anyway, obscure private label pressing. It's a pretty good record. I like it. Okay, I was in a antique shop in Meeteetse, Wyoming about 2 or 3 years ago and found this, and I recognized the artist. This is Kyle Evans, based in Wessington Springs, South Dakota. I have personally met Kyle Evans. He was down in Cody for the annual Cowboy Songs and Range Ballads event, which used to take place the first week of April every year. Really nice guy, very talented cowboy singer-songwriter. And this would be early in his career, and it has more of a rock country sound to it. But Kyle and Company, self-title. And that is Kyle right there. And there's members of his backup band. And good record. Kyle Evans, great. Check him out. He's got a couple CDs out that are really, really good. All cowboy songs. Highly recommended. Kyle Evans. And you can tell in this early album, the guy's got a great singing voice. So, nice one. All right. This is a very rare record, but it is not totally uncommon here in Northwest Wyoming. The Boot was a lounge that was based at DeMars Hot Springs on the Shoshone River on the west side of Cody. Operated for many, many years. Hilda Ratliff was the proprietor and hostess, and this is basically Ralph Mooney and the Moonshiners. I have no idea who Jim Ames is, although this appears to be a live album. It is basically studio recordings with audience applause dubbed in. When you're in a tiny nightclub in Cody, Wyoming, you don't have hundreds of cheering fans as you play the music. So there is a MC, a guy introducing the band and songs. I presume that's Jim Ames. I don't know. Who knows? But Ralph Mooney is actually pretty well known as a steel guitar player. And he's mostly as a sideman. I don't know that he really has his own releases under his name, but this I would consider one, Ralph Mooney and the Moonshiners. And what is this like? It is, I guess you call it country western rock. I mean, there's some Chuck Berry tunes, Hank Williams. There's one original, Miss Hilda, written by Mooney himself. There's the label, Phil's Records. I guess you'd call it a private press. Anyway, it's a good one. Oh, yes. There's at least 3 people that own this, have it. One copy was autographed on the back, and I sent it to a good friend in Ohio, fellow record collector who's into cowboy music, and decided he needs to have this in his collection. So there's my friend in Ohio has this. I had 2 and that left me with 2 copies of this, and I had a near mint, 2 near mint copies. This one stays in my collection. The other one I decided to try selling on Discogs, and absolutely no sales history. What price do I put on it? So I thought, well, let's put $75 on it and see if anybody bites. Did anybody bite? Yep, it sold within a couple days. So there's the sales history. The median and only sale recorded on Discogs is $75. Okay, found this at a thrift shop here in Powell, Wyoming. Joo Lee. I guess the title of this would be Mr. Joo Lee Violin. Mr. Lee was born in North Korea. His family escaped to South Korea to flee the communists, and he wound up in the States. And Rose Willits on piano, Joo Lee on violin. And okay, I see a date of 1968 on the back cover. And oh, it is signed to a fan on the front. It's Beethoven, Ravel, and Brahms. There's the label, red with silver print. Here is a concert bill from North Central College presents Joo Lee, violinist, Rose Barthel Williams, accompanist, faculty recital. So these two were faculty members at North Central College. Cool record. I imagine violin classical collectors would be interested in hearing this. It's a pretty good record. Okay, there are a lot of new submissions I've made to Discogs. I've been going through my collection. I have added 18,000 plus to my Discogs collection. When I go through my collection, typically 8 to 10% of the records in my collection do not exist on Discogs. So I have had to make about 1,800 new subs to the database over the years. I could do a video like this, records nobody else has, records I put as new subs on Discogs, and I could do dozens and dozens of 45s and 78s. I've just got so many of them. This was an existing entry on Discogs, although at this point in time, I am the one person that owns a copy of it. And this is Lone Jack Boys, That Ugly Girl of Mine, on the Genie label. Dates from 1955. And the flip is credited to Crazy Homer and the Lone Jack Boys, and it is Australian Hoedown. So Crazy Girl of Mine, I would call hillbilly novelty. It's really pretty cool. I have video of this audio on YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel and look for Lone Jack Boys and the flip side, Australian Hoedown. You can listen to it on my YouTube channel. Pretty cool. Anyway, cool record. I like it a lot. Now, I do a lot of yard sales, and although I'm 100 miles from Billings, Montana, when I get up there and it's a weekend, I will set aside some time to cruise around and hit yard sales in Billings. So, yard sale in an older part of town, I looked around, no records, no stereo equipment, no nothing. And I asked the lady, have you got any old records? And she said, oh, yeah, well, we have some at my sister's house, and they belong to my parents. I said, okay. And her sister was right there with her at the sale. And her sister said, oh, my house is right across the alley. Let's go look. So we went to go look, and I went through about 50 LPs, all TUC, the usual crap, nothing worth taking home. And then I looked at the 78s. There were a bunch of 12-inch 78s, primarily classical stuff from the 40s, you know, symphonies and stuff like that. No value, no interest for collectors. And there were 10-inch 78s, and I flipped through the 10-inch 78s. And I spotted a lot of Victor Scroll label like this, and some interesting stuff, some hot jazz, some possible blues. This is Jim Jackson. I heard the voice of a pork chop, and the flip side is Old Dog Blue. This was released in 1928, and it is blues, and it is really good. Fun record. Incidentally, there was another Jim Jackson record in that same lot, and I added that as a new sub to Discogs as well. And there's a third pre-war blues 78 in that lot. So anyway, I negotiated a deal for all the 78s. I think I gave the lady $30 or something. It was, a little bit more than I would normally spend, but I had a hunch about this record, and it is indeed rare, sought after pre-war blues. It's good. I think somebody uploaded this to YouTube, so you might check it out. I heard The Voice of a Pork Chop by Jim Jackson. Like I said, I made a sub to Discogs on it, and there are 3 people have it. I'm one of them, and 19 people want it. Imagine that, pre-wars blues. Who wouldn't want it? So anyway, that is just a tiny sampling of rare records I found out in the wild. Had to make new submissions to Discogs for the database, and I like all these records, and this is part of the fun. I love crate digging, and it's always the thrill of the chase. You never know what you're gonna find. Would I have ever dreamed of finding 3 pre-war blues records in a garage in Billings, Montana? No. That's the element of surprise, and that's what makes crate digging so rewarding and so much fun. Just keep going out there and keep looking. Welcome any comments on any of these records. I'd be curious to know if anybody has any of these records in their collection. So anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos. And again, Lone Jack Boys, That Ugly Girl of Mine, is on my YouTube channel. So you can definitely check that out and give it a listen. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Keep digging.